Here's something we haven't done in a while, rev up the old momentum radar. Well, our momentum strategist, Dave Bartosiak, did just that, and he's got a couple of interesting stocks that have hit his radar screen, right?
I do.
So the first one, both of these are Zacks Rank #1, strong buy stocks. First one is Level 3 Communications.
Right. Not only are these Zacks #1 strong buys, right, which we know have historically 26% return. So that's probably a pretty good place to start. They've both had recent earnings surprises of over 25%, so kind of a big surprise.
Okay.
Their last quarter. They're also within 15% of their 52-week highs, so you got a little bit of price momentum there.
Yep.
They've outpaced the market recently too, so you've got a lot of things in there that are looking pretty good. So then we look at Level 3, and I didn't realize how big Level 3 was until I started really digging into the data here. And they provide a lot of the infrastructure and background to broadband internet, right? So you don't really see their name on things, but they have various partners that deliver the service, for them. But they're the actual infrastructure behind it. What I like about this is looking at their kind of Zacks, detail, the magnitude of the current trend estimates, right, as well as the recent upside. So I talked a little bit about their surprises that they had, in the past, because we know the last one was up 25%. But if you look at the most accurate estimate versus the Zacks consensus, there's about a 17% difference. So what that means is that there's potential for this next earnings report to have another surprise as well. Also, if you look at the trend, especially for the current year, they were due to earn about 61 cents, and then recently they've upped revisions, analysts have, all the way to $1.21. So that's pretty significant, nearly doubling, what they think they're going to make for the current year.
Yeah.
So that's good as well. But I'm the momentum guy, I'm the technical guy, right?
Right.
So we have to start digging into the chart. And this one looks pretty decent if you take a look at it. So, I talk a lot about this whole trend, trace, and trigger, right? That's kind of the basic, fundamentals of technical analysis, right? So here you have an uptrend. Stock's been in an uptrend for a while. And recently it's kind of sold off from that 52-week high, right? But we know it's within 15% of it because that's, the screen that we ran. So the stock's pulled back a little bit, kind of broke down from just taking off on a crazy, upward momentum, and taking a little bit of a pause here. And I think it gives you a pretty good risk versus reward where you can peck at it here. And if it doesn't work out for you, you got a tight top loss to the downside. It'll be stop loss to the downside. You'll be fine. And if it does work out, then it could scream the new highs.
All right, and the other stock that caught your eye is RMBS. That's a semiconductor company.
Yeah, RMBS has been around for a while. I remember looking at these guys during the .com bubble. That's kind of how long they've been around. But it's not really a household name like like you see with the Ciscos of the world, or even AOL, that kind of thing. But yeah, they are a semiconductor stock, and I don't know if you've been paying attention at all to the market. Of course you have. But the tech stocks have been beat up over the last several, so about a week or so. We've gotten beat up. But RMBS has kind of outperformed while all of this is happening. So you kind of have, the castles crumbling around them, but they're, staying in there, and the stock is doing relatively well. So that's something that you really like to see, is even in a weak market, a stock that's doing well. But the other thing that I love to see is that price and consensus chart. This is a really good visual of what the earnings estimates have been and where the stock price is. And one thing that jumped out at me specifically with this chart is if you look at where the earnings are slated to be this year, the last time the earnings were at that level, where the stock price was. So the stock was nearly double the price that it is now the last time they had earnings as good as they think they're going to have. So that should tell you something about the relative value of the stock right now. So I do think that the stock is undervalued from that standpoint, right? But then again, now we got to dig into the technicals, right? So again, trend, trace, and trigger, the three things that we're looking for. So RMBS has been kind of on a runaway streak right here, right? So that puts it into that sort of uncharted territory mode that we were talking about before. Because the last time the stock was there, we're talking years and years ago. So I doubt that's going to make too much, of a relevant point right now. So we're in an uptrend. We've been in an uptrend, and this one looks like it's actually breaking out to the upside. Still, even in the face of a tough market. So this one, what I would do is you kind of look at the big move that it had over the last several months, and just pull back basically 20% off of that, right? And that should be a pretty good bottom for where it could potentially go if it started to go south. And really, the sky's the limit to the upside.
All right. Well, for disclosure purposes, I have to ask, do you own either of these two?
I don't.
All right. Check out other stock picks and stock picking strategies in other categories that we write about on Zacks.com. If you're not there already, link to them off the homepage. With Dave, I'm Terry Ruffalo.